I was at home alone playing Call of Duty between 1 a.m. and 2 a.m. During this time, I got a phone call from a random phone number, and of course, the first thing I thought was that it was just somebody either prank calling me or who had the wrong number. After I hung up, a few seconds later, I received another phone call from the same number. When this happened, I'll admit I felt a little chill run down my spine. But since I was home alone, I was thinking that if this person was just prank calling me, I could say whatever I wanted until one of us hung up. So I answered it. I said, "Hello," in a sort of annoyed voice, but there was no response. Instead, all I heard was something that still freaks me out. I heard what sounded like a cat hissing, but in a much deeper pitch. Of course, I became defensively hostile. I said into the phone, "If you call this number again, I'll have my friend who's a police officer track this number and arrest you." But this didn't even faze whoever was on the other end of the phone. Instead, all I got in response was disturbing, low-pitched laughter. My heart dropped. "Why are you calling?" I said. Then, this is what still gives me nightmares to this day. As clear as day, in a dark, almost demonic voice I heard, "I'm just waiting for you to come upstairs." Without hesitation, I ran out of the house and across the street to my friend's house and asked his dad to call my dad while trying to explain what happened. After he called my dad, my friend's dad called the police. They arrived in 5 minutes and found nothing upstairs. But they did find the back door open. My dad used to be a paramedic, and after he retired, he remained good friends with a lot of people. One of them was my godmother, Sally. Sally owned a bunny farm and was very friendly. My family and I loved her dearly, and my parents decided to make her my godmother. But she also had a brother named Terry. Terry was a very quiet man. He never said much and kind of had a weird vibe about him. It was Thanksgiving, and we all decided to eat together. It was a great dinner, but his presence just really made me uncomfortable. While they were over, my godmother and I were working on the computer my parents used, and I noticed my brother and Terry were in the family room. I went out to see them just watching TV. Nothing was going on. The next day, we all went to church, and Terry asked me if my brother had a Facebook account. I said no because that was the truth, but my thoughts began to wonder why he wanted to befriend my younger brother. At some point, he added me on Facebook, and I noticed that his avatar was that anonymous figure. Weird. I got an instant message from him. The chat went like this. "Hey there," he said. "Hi. What are you doing up so late?" "I'm a night owl, so I'm usually up late." "Doesn't that make your parents mad?" he said. They don't mind," I said. "A naughty girl, aren't we, staying up late? Would you like to chat?" "Actually, I have to go now. I have homework," I said, quickly going invisible and closing the chat. What the hell kind of chat was that? He was talking to me like I was some slut or something. Curiosity got the best of me, and I decided to go to his account. He didn't have his friends list blocked. What I saw and what I felt that night will always haunt me. He had over 200 friends, and all of them were young men between the ages of 14 to 18. I was so sick as I saw some of the boys were shirtless, in their boxers or worse. This man was targeting young men. This is why he wanted to know if my brother had a Facebook account. He wanted to add him to his sick boy list. I told my parents and reported his account. My dad was shocked, but he also wasn't too surprised. Apparently, Terry was reported for selling drugs to kids and touching them on the news one day. I found out the case was dropped because the boys said they were lying. But now I wonder, were they really lying? Since then, we stopped talking to my godmother and her sick brother. His Facebook account was taken down, but I know he's still out there. My parents recently bought a cabin in the woods and would always spend their weekends up there. My little sister would always go with them, so I spent a lot of time home alone over the weekends. One evening, I was bored out of my mind, so I plopped my butt down and played some Legend of Zelda. Now, over the years of living in this house, I developed a natural reaction. Every now and again, whenever my parents needed me, they would call my name from the top of the stairs. My room was in the basement. Then I would pause the game, walk to the stairs, and ask them what they needed. It happened so often. I always keep an ear out for the faintest sound from upstairs. This one particular night, as I was playing Zelda, I heard someone call my name from upstairs. Brandon? With this natural instinct kicking in, I got up and walked toward the stairs. It wasn't until I was about halfway there that I remembered my parents were not home. Maybe my mind was playing tricks on me or something. I returned back to the land of Hyrule until I heard my name called again. Brandon. This time it was louder, and the voice wasn't my father's. In fact, it wasn't anyone from my family's voice. Maybe a neighbor's? But I know my neighbors well, and I didn't recognize the voice. I bolted upstairs to investigate, shouting for a response. I got none. I looked out the window in our dining room that gave me a good view of our street. I live in a house at the far end of a cul-de-sac, so we can see every house on the street. Right before the street opens into the big circle of asphalt, there was a dim streetlight illuminating the area. Standing directly under the light was a dark, shadowy figure. I tried to see if I could recognize him, but I couldn't, until I realized something about the man that made my blood freeze in horror. The man had no shadow. I know that because he was directly under a light source. His shadow should be beneath him. But no, I looked between his legs. No shadow whatsoever. Suddenly, the streetlight flickered for a split second, and the shadow man disappeared. I then ran frantically around the house, making sure every door and window was locked and secured. I then locked myself in a closet beneath the staircase and played Pokémon on my DS for the rest of the night.